Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Star Web Store, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. The dawn might only be a faint ray of light at daybreak in the outline behind the mountain. However, in the eyes of the two web-spraying spiders, this faint light of dawn was the redemption of life. The hands that were placed on their backs were constantly channeling spirit chi and pulling them back from the doors of hell. However, the web-spraying spiders didn't know that the dawn in their eyes would soon sell them on the Star Web Store. In fact, when Creation Masters evolved feys and sold them, it was to search for a new contractor for the feys. Spirit chi professionals and feys would always mutually benefit from each other. Spirit chi professionals would think of all methods to nurture their feys. When the feys were stronger, they would be able to enhance the spirit chi professionals' combat capabilities. Lin Yuan had already used the Star Web card to log into the Star Web. Lin Yuan always liked to visit those fey websites to acquire more knowledge on how to nurture feys. For websites like Fey Ones, they were still maintained in the same appearance before the spirit chi awakening. The Star Web was different as it was the same as a second world for humans. By using the Star Web card to enter the Star Web, it was just like entering a brand new world of network. Lin Yuan seldom visited the Star Web, so his Star Web account didn't have anything else apart from his name, age, and basic information of his identity. Lin Yuan didn't immediately fill up all the personal information, like his spirit chi rank, contracted feys, or interests and hobbies. Instead, he entered the Star Web Store that he had applied for and just gotten approved. In order to apply for the store, the application fee had cost Lin Yuan 100,000 Federation dollars, and he felt the pinch. The store didn't have a name yet, so Lin Yuan conveniently changed the store's name to Purchase with No Loss Fey Store. After changing the name, Lin Yuan immediately confirmed it with convenient procedures. Lin Yuan couldn't help but nod with satisfaction. Lin Yuan still remembered an advertisement in his previous life. Purchase with no loss, purchase with no fraud. To see the items that are truly worth the price, enter the house to take a look. Now that my store is called Purchase with No Loss Fey Store, the name immediately demonstrates this store's conscience and sincerity. Awesome! Genius was seated on Lin Yuan's thighs and looking at Lin Yuan while tilting its head. Genius didn't know why the radiant smile on Lin Yuan's face made him look like a silly kid. A newly approved Star Web Store was still a Class 1 Star Web Store. It might be a Class 1-1, but the size of the store wasn't small. Lin Yuan might feel the pinch after spending 100,000 Federation dollars, but he was feeling a little better now. Lin Yuan's actual Fey store was only around 80 square meters, including both the first and second floors. But this store on the Star Web was at least 200 square meters, and it was already 2 times as big. In the Star Web, a Class 1 store that was newly approved would be an empty house with a standard size of 200 square meters. Lin Yuan's current store was nothing but an empty shell apart from the 4 clear and white walls. In order to decorate the store, he would need to purchase the decorations in the Star Web. The Star Web was a world that was entirely made up of data, but these data really existed. Lin Yuan used the Star Web card to scan the elite usnias and the 2 web-spraying spiders into data before listing them onto the store to sell. The elite usnias and the 2 web-spraying spiders were turned into data, and their virtual images appeared in Lin Yuan's store. In terms of appearance, they were entirely the same when they were in the actual world. Lin Yuan couldn't help but lament at how amazing the Star Web was. At that moment, the Star Web notified and asked Lin Yuan if he wished to change his Star Web account's name. If he didn't change it, the default name of the store owner should be the actual name. Lin Yuan immediately cursed in his heart. Isn't the Star Web account name the same as a web name? Lin Yuan immediately changed his name into Deep Mountain Elder Lin. The name Deep Mountain Elder Lin was actually the meaning of his actual name, Lin Yuan.In the virtual world. It was better to change one's name when setting up a store. Lin Yuan's store had just opened, so he didn't think that anyone would be coming in soon. Therefore, he looked for a bookstore in the Star Web community. When walking into the Star Web community, Lin Yuan had his eyes opened. As he was in the Star Web, apart from some special decorations, most of them were real scanned items. Inside the community, one could see high-ranked spirit chi professionals riding all sorts of feys and inviting eyes of envy. It was very rare to see bronze feys and above in the Xia region. But in the Star Web community, Lin Yuan could already see several silver feys. He could even see the figures of gold feys occasionally. Spirit chi professionals who possessed gold feys would normally be B rank. B rank spirit chi professionals were considered the core strength of the Radiance Federation. Lin Yuan walked into a bookstore and noticed there weren't any owners. The storekeeper was an AI robot. AI robots were sold on the Star Web. Those with lesser functions would be around 40,000 Federation dollars. Those with better functions would be around 80,000 Federation dollars. They had a warranty of 5 years. After some calculations, the robots with lesser functions would be around 8,000 Federation dollars per year and around 600 Federation dollars per month. Those with better functions would be around 16,000 Federation dollars per year and around 1,300 Federation dollars per month. It was considered to be very affordable. AI robots could only handle simple jobs. For bookstores where the items' prices were fixed, an AI robot could easily fill in the role. For fey stores, like spiritual ingredient stores that required communication with customers to conduct business, the AI robots wouldn't be sufficient. In that case, one could hire a storekeeper from the Star Web, but the price would be several times more expensive than AI robots. There were plenty of people who could take up part-time jobs in the Star Web or even full-time jobs. However, hiring a storekeeper had its pros and cons. There were certain aspects when a storekeeper wasn't as reliable as an AI robot. The robot assisted Lin Yuan, and he quickly purchased all the books he required. After the purchase, Lin Yuan had to sign a confidentiality contract and promise that the purchased books wouldn't be given to others apart from direct relatives. After the Spirit Chi awakening, all knowledge, even the low-ranked occupation knowledge, would need to be purchased. In addition, a confidentiality contract must be signed after the purchase. Lin Yuan involuntarily sighed. No matter the time and place, the saying of knowledge is wealth remains unchanged. There were a total of 327 books that were tested for primary scholars, fey observers, and spiritual ingredient analysts. Lin Yuan purchased all of them. After making the purchase, Lin Yuan just had to wait for Ostrich Logistics to deliver the 327 books information chips. He could then allow Genius to memorize the contents of the books. By then, I can go participate in the Creation Master exam. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First customer, translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Earlier on, when Lin Yuan had entered the bookstore, he had felt that the renovations were rather classical and stylish. While thinking of his own store, Lin Yuan headed to the Star Web's furniture and decoration store. After visiting a few furniture and decoration stores, Lin Yuan made a firm decision not to buy any furniture. This furniture and decoration store sold items that were at least 10 times more expensive than the other stores. He took a look at a white wooden chair that had a price of 5,500 Federation dollars. Lin Yuan decided not to buy anything. He felt that his little store just had to sell things, while furniture and decorations weren't necessary. However, Lin Yuan still planned to purchase an AI robot for automatic selling. The selling price for elite usnias and similar feys were all fixed, and Lin Yuan wasn't planning to give any chance for negotiations. It was better to set a fixed selling price. As for other superior feys, when Lin Yuan wasn't in the store, those interested parties could just leave a message with the AI robot. When Lin Yuan came online, they could then converse. AI robots might not be great, but the store was only starting, and Lin Yuan could easily handle the business. Furthermore, hiring a reliable storekeeper wasn't an easy task, and it was dependent on fate. Lin Yuan returned to his store, and just as he was preparing to purchase an AI robot, he realized there was a customer in the store. There was a young girl wearing denim clothes but wearing a bumblebee hat. She was bending over and carefully observing the 2 web-spraying spiders in the store. She would look at one of them and switch over to the other from time to time. She was pursing her lips as though she wasn't satisfied. Since there was business, Lin Yuan quickly went over and asked, "I wonder if you fancy any of the 2 web-spraying spiders?" It was unknown when this girl had arrived, but it seemed like she had been waiting for some time. After hearing Lin Yuan's question, she said to Lin Yuan, "Are you the store owner? Your store actually doesn't even have an AI robot. I could only wait here foolishly, not knowing when you would return." Lin Yuan let out an apologetic smile and said, "My small store just opened today. I didn't have time to prepare an AI robot." The girl looked as though she understood and said, "No wonder. I have been looking for a store that is selling bronze spider feys recently, but I only found your store today. For a silly store name like Purchase with no loss, if I saw it previously, it would be impossible for me not to enter. Lin Yuan's smile immediately froze and couldn't help twitching, while looking at this bumblebee hat-wearing girl, who was around his younger sister's age. Why did he feel that this unruly child was asking for a beating? She must have done too little homework. The girl felt that she had said something wrong, so she stuck out her tongue and said, "Uncle, what is the price for these 2 spiders? Don't set a price that is too expensive. Your store's name is called Purchase with no loss." Lin Yuan was normally addressed as young brother and little brother. This was actually the first time he was addressed as an uncle. However, thinking that this was the store's first customer and he must provide a smiling service, he endured and said, "The smaller web-spraying spider with long weaving legs awakened the exclusive skill, adhesive spider web. The bigger greenish web-spraying spider awakened the exclusive skill, violent venom." When Lin Yuan said violent venom, the young girl let out an "ah" and consciously moved back. Without anything to lean back on, the girl immediately sat her buttocks on the ground. It just so happened that her bumblebee hat dropped down. Lin Yuan subconsciously wanted to help and pull up the girl, but when he saw the top of the girl's head, he immediately slipped out the words, "braised egg." "Ah!" As compared to her fall earlier, she shouted even louder. The girl immediately picked up the bumblebee hat and wore it on her head. After wearing it tightly, she said, "This is an injury by a ghost shadow bristled spider and the aftereffects of the treatment. It will be fine after a few months, and it is not some braised egg." When looking at the girl's angry expression, Lin Yuan involuntarily rubbed the back of his head. He was rather apologetic, but he silently thought in his mind, "I really didn't mean it when I exclaimed, braised egg." But all the irritation after being told that the store's name is silly and being addressed as an uncle has been wiped out. After hearing the ghost shadow bristled spider's mention, Lin Yuan felt that he had heard of someone being bitten by a ghost shadow bristled spider, but he couldn't remember, since this girl had received treatment even after getting stung by a ghost shadow bristled spider. It meant a healer with a gold healing type fey had treated her as soon as she had been stung. The girl turned around and ignored Lin Yuan as she continued to observe the 2 bronze web-spraying spiders. Lin Yuan saw the situation and immediately asked, "Do you like spider feys?" The girl responded by jumping up as though she was stung on her injured spot again. "I hate spider feys the most. Who would like a big and hairy bug?" While speaking, the girl's mouth sunk down as she added another statement, "But my innate compatibility range is pointing towards spider feys." Lin Yuan first felt that it was rather comical that a person who hated spider feys was actually compatible with them. Immediately after, Lin Yuan was shocked by this girl's innate talent. Spider feys were also considered arachnids, and it was a classification that was extremely diverse among insects. Most of the combat class feys would have the shadows of an arachnid. If this girl was compatible with spider species, it meant that she had plenty of choices when contracting a fey, and her direction of development was very extensive. After taking a closer look at the 2 web-spraying spiders, the girl shook her head and said to Lin Yuan, "This won't do. I want to contract with a spider fey that has a strong control ability. The exclusive skills of these 2 web-spraying spiders are still a little weak. It will be best if I can order elite/epic web-spraying spiders. I will surely roll out the exclusive skill, transparent spider web." After hearing the girl's words, Lin Yuan clicked his tongue silently. The transparent spider web was an extremely rare exclusive skill. It was a skill that wasn't good when used by itself, but it might produce an unexpected result when used in combination with other feys. However, in order to roll for a specific skill, it wasn't possible with just 1 or 2 epic quality web-spraying spiders. If one didn't have good luck, it might need up to around 10 or 20 spiders. Just as the girl was walking outside, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before speaking. "Do you wish to make custom orders for epic quality web-spraying spiders? I have a method. How many do you need?" The girl immediately turned around and looked at Lin Yuan warily and said, "Uncle, do you think I am innocent, cute, and easy to deceive? Or do you think you look good, and I will believe you?" Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Spirit-Goldfish, translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Same species feys, even if they were elite/epic ones, their price would be more than 2 times higher than a bronze fey. To Lin Yuan, evolving an elite feys quality to epic would require much more time than evolving an elite/flawless fey to bronze/normal. No regular creation master could achieve pushing an elite feys quality to epic. At least, it was impossible for rank 1 creation masters. Lin Yuan looked at the girl with the braised egged head with an annoyed expression and shook his hand. Hurry up and leave. Go to the other shops and take a look. You might find a web-spraying spider that you want. Lin Yuan had already turned around and was preparing to purchase an AI robot, but he was held back by the girl. The girl blinked her big eyes, and when her bumblebee hat was swaying around, it did look like a little bumblebee. Uncle, why don't we add each other as star web friends? Lin Yuan looked at the girl with the braised egged head and said, there isn't a need. If you wish to buy something from the store, you can just come back. Uncle, you aren't angry, right? Take a look at your store. It doesn't have a single piece of furniture and decoration. I have already been deceived so much that I am afraid. It is fine to occasionally be wary, right? Upon looking at the girl's crafty eyes, Lin Yuan cursed in his heart, you would get deceived. It will be good enough if you don't go and deceive others. However, this time, Lin Yuan directly handed his star web name card to the girl. The girl also directly handed her star web name card to Lin Yuan in return. When Lin Yuan was looking at the girl's name card, he heard a burst of laughter from the side. Ha ha ha, Deep Mountain Elder Lin. What a silly name. Lin Yuan read the name on the girl's star web name card. It was Stream in the Cloud, isn't the shark eagle? A fish that lives inside the stream in the cloud? What? You actually say I am a fool? No. I said stream in the cloud. No, I just heard you saying that I am a fool. In the end, Lin Yuan signed a contract with the girl, who had the star web name Stream in the Cloud. Stream in the Cloud would pay 2 radiance dollars for each elite/epic web spraying spider. She then immediately put down an order for 5 of them. While signing the contract, Lin Yuan watched the girl swipe the star web card without hesitation, causing him to lament in his heart. Wealth truly gives a person confidence. When signing a contract on the star web to order feys, there wasn't any deposit, as it had to be paid in full. Therefore, Stream in the Cloud didn't hesitate and immediately paid the cost of 10 radiance dollars. Of course, if Lin Yuan wasn't able to prepare the feys stated on the contract, then he would need to pay the penalty fee. At the same time, the credibility of purchase with no loss fey store would drop greatly. A store with low credibility would naturally have bad business. When the credibility fell to a certain extent, the store might have its rights taken away. After sending off Stream in the Cloud, Lin Yuan purchased an AI robot that had a better function. Once he set the elite/elite Usnia's price, Lin Yuan went out to visit other fey stores. He would need to purchase 5 elite web-spraying spiders. The best option was to purchase Elite X/flawless web-spraying spiders. Lin Yuan would only have to evolve them to epic quality afterward. Elite X/flawless web-spraying spiders weren't considered rare. Therefore, Lin Yuan got them easily for around 200,000 Federation dollars each. It cost Lin Yuan a total of 1 radiance dollar for these 5 web-spraying spiders, the books, AI robot, and the 5 Elite X/flawless web-spraying spiders immediately reduced half of the funds on his hand. He didn't even have time to warm up the 3.3 radiance dollars that he had just earned this morning and had already spent them. Presently, Lin Yuan was only left with 2.4 radiance dollars. He couldn't help but sigh. Money is something that will be used up so quickly. Since Lin Yuan had purchased the 5 elite/flawless web-spraying spiders, he searched for star web stores. This time, he was very serious and careful with his selection. Lin Yuan was looking for an elite fey to use Morbius Spirit Lock on. Only after evolving both the Spirit Lock normal and elite feys to bronze, Morbius would then be able to reach bronze grade 2. Lin Yuan already had a plan for the elite fey to use Spirit Lock on. However, the choice was truly a challenge for Lin Yuan. He had chosen a support type fey that no one would basically choose, the Spirit Siphon Goldfish. No one picked the Spirit Siphon Goldfish, not because it didn't have a good ability. On the contrary, the spirit siphon goldfish's basic ability was one of the most popular abilities among the support-type feys, spirit injection. Spirit injection allowed the spirit chi professionals to quickly replenish their used-up spirit chi in battle. The spirit siphon goldfish had such a favorable basic ability, but no one would pick it because it would only absorb pure spirit chi. It would reject most of the spirit chi produced by spiritual ingredients. Furthermore, the spirit siphon goldfish required a huge amount of spirit chi in order to evolve. It would need 10 times more spirit chi than other feys of the same grade. These factors made the spirit siphon goldfish a fey that creation masters didn't like. Due to the difficulty of evolving it, no one would pick the spirit siphon goldfish as their own contracted fey. Even though the spirit siphon goldfish wasn't a great choice, its price wasn't low at all. When a spirit siphon goldfish swam, it would release spirit chi into the environment. The higher the grade of the spirit siphon goldfish, the more spirit chi would be released. This made the spirit siphon goldfish become a superior fey that could support spirit chi professionals to absorb spirit chi. There were plenty of stores on the star web selling spirit siphon goldfish, but most of them would be selling normal spirit siphon goldfish. There were basically no stores selling elite spirit siphon goldfish. Yuan finally chose a class 3 store as it didn't just have spirit siphon goldfish, but it also sold spiritual ingredients. It just so happened that Yuan could purchase all the things he needed in this store. After entering the class 3 store, Yuan realized its size wasn't just big, it was close to 800 square meters. After taking a glance, there were all sorts of spiritual ingredients and feys that were arranged neatly and orderly in the store. It made this 800 square meter store a little congested. At that moment, Yuan heard a gentle female voice that echoed beside his ear. "Let me bring you to what you want to buy. My staff members have the day off today, so please forgive me for any mistakes." The woman let out a friendly smile while speaking, and subtly built a closer relationship. Yuan went straight to the point and said, "Boss, I wish to buy a spirit siphon goldfish from here. This way, please." The middle-aged lady led the way at the front and swiftly brought Yuan to a pond that was around 6 to 7 square meters in size. The pond had spirit siphon goldfish that were in all sorts of colors, and they were swimming around smoothly and quickly. Chapter 34. You are listening at MTnovel. Thin Dragon Species Bloodline, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. When Yuan approached the pond, he felt that the spirit chi was much more concentrated. The middle-aged lady pointed at the spirit siphon goldfish inside the pond and said, "The smaller ones in the pond are all normal grade. That reddish goldfish, which is twice as big as the other spirit siphon goldfish, is elite grade." Yuan asked curiously, "Boss, what are the prices for normal and elite spirit siphon goldfish, respectively?" The middle-aged lady chuckled and said, "You don't have to keep calling me boss. I should only be slightly older than you. Just call me Big Sister Xin." Normal spirit siphon goldfish, regardless of subspecies, cost 0.5 radiance dollar each. The elite spirit siphon goldfish costs 5 radiance dollars. Yuan already knew that the elite spirit siphon goldfish would be expensive, but after hearing it cost 5 radiance dollars, he couldn't help but be surprised. Zhou Jessen noticed Yuan's surprised expression and explained, "I have already quoted a very reasonable price for the elite spirit siphon goldfish, and that is due to its poor subspecies. If it was a superior subspecies, the price would be at least 7 radiance dollars. The other places sell normal spirit siphon goldfish of different subspecies with different prices too. But at my place, I sell them for the same price. Most of the time, people would pick them based on their looks. Not many creation masters are willing to take the task of evolving these feys." Yuan nodded in response. The spirit siphon goldfish was actually the commonly called goldfish before the spirit chi awakening. The telescope, Ranchu, Lianchu, Ryukin, butterfly telescope, and so on were all subspecies of the goldfish, and they were all called spirit siphon goldfish. The different subspecies of spirit siphon goldfish didn't have a great difference at normal grade and elite grade, but their evolution direction would be different after reaching bronze grade. For this time, Yuan wanted to purchase a telescope spirit siphon goldfish. It was said that if the telescope subspecies evolved toward the ancestry line, it might activate the thin dragon species bloodline. That would be the same as jumping through the dragon gate. However, the possibility of it happening was minute. Previously, a high-ranked creation master had nurtured a telescope spirit siphon goldfish to bronze grade, and it had evolved toward the ancestry line, awakening the dragon species bloodline. The spirit siphon goldfish that had awakened the dragon species bloodline had immediately been placed in the Star Web's rare lifeform pavilion for an auction and sold for an astronomical price. Lin Yuan wanted to attempt and see if he could activate the dragon species bloodline within the telescope spirit siphon goldfish at bronze grade. In fact, even if he couldn't activate the bloodline, it wouldn't be bad either. The spirit siphon goldfish's basic ability was already incredible enough. Lin Yuan wanted to purchase a spirit siphon goldfish and experiment to see how long he would need to evolve it. He would then see if the spirit lock spatial zone, which had concentrated spirit chi, could allow the spirit siphon goldfish to evolve at a speed that was several times faster. If his spirit lock spatial zone was able to evolve the spirit siphon goldfish faster, then his store could focus on selling elite spirit siphon goldfish. Such a store would have a reputation that would spread swiftly. Of course, all of this would have to wait until Lin Yuan finished the order for the 5 web-spraying spiders. After all, Lin Yuan didn't have enough capital to purchase spirit siphon goldfish right now. Lin Yuan picked a black and healthy normal eye/normal telescope goldfish from the pond. He was planning to purchase some energy ores with the rest of the money to enhance and check the limits of the spirit chi concentration in his spirit lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan purchased the inferior energy ores from Zhou Jiesin at the price of 500 Federation dollars for each caddy. He purchased a total of 2,000 caddies, leaving him with just 0.9 radiance dollars. Lin Yuan didn't spare the 0.9 radiance dollars either and purchased some butterfly shells. The butterfly shell beast was a kind of deep-sea fey, and butterfly shells were made by polishing and grinding the butterfly shell beast's shell. There were all sorts of patterns and shapes. The butterfly shell beast had plenty of different colored shells, which didn't have a big difference in price. Lin Yuan chose the yellow ginkgo leaf-shaped butterfly shells. After delicate polishing and grinding, the butterfly shell was shining with pearl-like luster. These butterfly shells were mainly used as fodder for the spirit siphon goldfish. As spiritual ingredients, the butterfly shells had a slight effect of awakening a water-type phase bloodline. Also, when these golden yellow ginkgo leaf-shaped butterfly shells were placed at the bottom of the spirit lock spatial zone's pool, they gave off a serene deep autumn scenery. It was spectacular. Lin Yuan spent his 0.9 radiance dollars and bought a bunch of butterfly shells. There were roughly over 100 butterfly shells, and they should be enough to feed the spirit siphon goldfish for 3 to 5 months. Lin Yuan hoped that the spirit lock spatial zone could enhance the spirit siphon goldfish's growth. It wasn't difficult for him to increase the grade of the spirit siphon goldfish because he could purify the spirit chi in the air before channeling it into the fey's body. This method would allow a fey to absorb the spirit chi directly, so the spirit siphon goldfish wouldn't reject it. The time required to evolve a spirit siphon goldfish was actually 10 times longer than other feys. Evolving the spirit siphon goldfish was actually not good for him. When evolving feys, Lin Yuan also wanted to increase his strength. He didn't wish to nurture the spirit siphon goldfish and not be able to increase the speed of spirit chi absorption. Zhou Jiesin didn't expect her store to suddenly receive such a huge order. Therefore, she asked Lin Yuan, "You are purchasing so many inferior energy ores to nurture a huge number of low-grade feys, right?" Lin Yuan didn't nod or shake his head. He smiled and said, "Big Sister Xin, I require quite a bit of energy ores for my daily operations." Zhou Jiesin looked at Lin Yuan, feeling that he was emitting a plant's refreshing presence after rain and made her feel indescribably closer. Zhou Jiesin immediately sent a request to add Lin Yuan's Star Web account. "Let's add each other to the friend list. If you need anything else next time, you just have to tell me directly. If the store doesn't have the spiritual ingredient, I can help you to get them with the proper price." Lin Yuan gladly agreed. Most of the spiritual ingredient stores would sell mostly low-grade or mid-grade goods. Even if the store owner had high-grade spiritual ingredients, it wouldn't be displayed in the store. All spirit chi professionals would think of all methods to evolve feys, so some of the rarer spiritual ingredients would never have sufficient supply. After adding Zhou Jiesin's Star Web account, it would save Lin Yuan plenty of trouble. If he needed anything, he would just make a direct order. This Class 3 store's spiritual ingredients might not be the cheapest, but their quality was all of a certain standard. I might have to purchase more energy ores and butterfly shells from Big Sister Xuanhuan next time. I might even purchase a few more spirit siphon goldfish. Will you still need the same inferior energy ores next time? Lin Yuan nodded. The higher the grade of the energy ores, the purer the spirit chi contained within. It would be easier to channel the spirit chi out of the energy ores for the feys to absorb. However, the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone Spirit Pool could dissolve the inferior energy ores into spirit chi. Since that was the case, inferior energy ores were naturally more worth it. Xuanhuan noted it down but was rather surprised in her heart. Inferior energy ores could only be used to nurture normal and elite feys. How big must the fey breeding base be to need such a huge amount of low-grade energy ores? Chapter 35. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Clash of Sequences, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. If it was really a large-scale fey breeding base, then it would certainly require a significant amount of spiritual ingredients. If I can secure this customer, I will have an additional steady flow of orders. While thinking like that, Xuanhuan spoke to Lin Yuan eagerly. As long as you tell me in advance, I will be able to prepare the goods in half an hour. Ostrich Logistics will deliver it to your place within a few hours. That's right. If you have any good feys, you can sell them to me too. Or you can also purchase some severely injured feys from me. Those feys are still alive, and I can guarantee the freshness of the spiritual ingredients. When Lin Yuan heard the words severely injured, his eyes lit up. Doesn't this mean that I have a chance to pick up great hidden goods again? Lin Yuan didn't plan to sell feys to Xuanhuan, as he was going to use the superior feys to increase his store's reputation. When Xuanhuan saw Lin Yuan's shining eyes, she couldn't help smiling. Today is the 6th of September. On the 27th of September, there will be a batch of severely injured feys arriving in the store. By then, you can come over to take a look. Those feys have all been vetted by a Class 2 Creation Master, and the Class 2 Creation Master couldn't save them. It is basically impossible for them to recover. Xuanhuan spoke very clearly and was trying to dismiss Lin Yuan's thought of finding some great feys that were missed out. Lin Yuan understood Xuanhuan's intention too. A Class 2 Creation Master might not be able to heal the injured feys, but it doesn't mean that I cannot heal them. For Xuanhuan's store, even if the fey was severely injured, it shouldn't be any higher than gold grade and would at least be a silver fey. To heal such feys, a Class 3 Creation Master would need to be hired, and the price was already higher than silver feys. Therefore, when Class 2 Creation Masters couldn't heal such feys, they were basically sentenced to death. The Class 2 Creation Master would use simple methods to maintain the feys' lives to guarantee the freshness of the spiritual ingredients. Instead of saying that Xuanhuan was selling severely injured feys, it would be better to say she was selling extremely fresh spiritual ingredients. Lin Yuan was currently a D-rank spirit chi professional, and he wasn't confident in healing a severely injured silver fey immediately. However, he was certain that the channeling of spirit chi would constantly make the silver fey better. After a period of time, it would be possible to heal it. Then, I shall revisit the store on the 27th. Big Sister Xuanhuan, I have been here for quite some time now. Why don't I see any customers coming into the store? Lin Yuan's question didn't have any meaning to hint that Xuanhuan's store had a lack of customers. It was a genuine question. For a Class 3 store that had great credibility, it should be constantly filled with customers. Thus, why was it so quiet today? Xuanhuan pointed at the poster on the wall of her store and said, "There is a tournament at the Starry Tower's brilliant celestial stairway. It just so happens that 2 sequence members are dueling. Everyone went to watch the duel. My staff members requested for half a day off to watch the duel too." Xuanhuan saw Lin Yuan blinking his eyes and didn't think that there was someone who didn't know of such a huge event in the Star Web sequence member. The only known sequence in the Radiance Federation was the Radiance 100. The rankings of the Radiance 100 were in sequence from 1 to 100. The Radiance 100 sequence members were the young generation of the Federation, and most of them had an age gap that wasn't more than 10 years. Every year, 10 of the 100 sequence members would retire, and 10 new members would fill the ranks. There were two types of scenarios when the Radiance 100 were retired. The first type was if their rankings were from the 91st to the 100th. They would be automatically eliminated from the Radiance 100 sequence, and new members would replace them. The other type was when they remained in the Radiance 100 for 10 years and would retire with glory. This method of retirement was filled with honor. This would definitely increase the competitive spirit between the Radiance 100 sequence. No matter when or how intense the competition was, the Radiance 100 would be the most dazzling stars in the Radiance Federation's young generation. At the same time, they would also develop into the Radiance Federation's new pillars. It was unexpected for two sequence members to actually duel with each other in the Starry Tower's brilliant celestial stairway. No wonder the star web streets are empty. Everyone has gone to watch the duel between the sequence members. Lin Yuan immediately settled the bill, and he took 4,000 Federation dollars out of his remaining 90,000 to purchase a ticket. However, after purchasing the ticket, Lin Yuan realized that the duel had already started for nearly 10 minutes. A duel between two sequence members on the brilliant celestial stairway was rather rare, especially when these two sequence members were individuals with great popularity. That's why this duel had already gone through a large-scale advertising on the star web for a long time. Both the indoor and outdoor tickets had already been sold out, so Lin Yuan had to spend 4,000 Federation dollars to purchase a tall platform ticket. There was no limit to the sale of tall platform tickets, so anyone who wanted the duel could purchase them and stand on the tall platform to watch. However, the view was utterly inferior to the outdoor tickets, let alone the indoor tickets. Star Web, Celestial Stairway Duel Ground, Tall Platform. Inside the Celestial Stairway Duel Ground, cheers and yells constantly echoed, creating a vibrant atmosphere. When the passionate sound waves hit the tall platform, Lin Yuan got a shock. Lin Yuan looked around the tall platform and saw a bumblebee hat from afar. Its owner's head was shaking as she watched the duel. It seemed like Stream in the Cloud had immediately come here to watch the duel after leaving his store. There was still an empty space beside the girl. Lin Yuan walked over and heard her yelling loudly, "White Devil Lordress, do your best. Unknown Flame Lordress, you will surely win." When Lin Yuan heard Stream in the Cloud's passionate cheers, he didn't feel anything at first. But after listening to the entire cheer, he looked at the excited Stream in the Cloud in astonishment. He couldn't help but ask, "Who exactly are you cheering for? This is the first time I see someone cheering for both sides in a duel." Stream in the Cloud heard someone teasing her and turned around to see that it was Lin Yuan. When she noticed it was a familiar person, she revealed a smile, but it was immediately followed by a mind-your-own-business look. Deep Mountain Elder Lin, both White Devil Lordress and Unknown Flame Lordress are my idols. I will be happy no matter who wins. It seemed like Stream in the Cloud was a fanatical follower. The clamor from the live venue was filled with plenty of people doing their best to yell and cheer. The atmosphere had already affected Lin Yuan and caused a blood-boiling feeling. Deep Mountain Elder Lin, who do you support more? White Devil Lordress or Unknown Flame Lordress? Stream in the Cloud looked at Lin Yuan with curiosity. Lin Yuan was startled by the question. Before this, he had been a busy person who barely managed to survive by struggling. His weak spiritual energy would make him dizzy after a short browse of the old modeled mobile phone. Therefore, Lin Yuan wasn't very familiar with these two sequence members and naturally didn't know who to support. Individuals who could enter the Radiance 100 sequence were all future guardians of the Radiance Federation. Lin Yuan said, "I support both of them just like you." Stream in the Cloud's eyes lit up. Under such circumstances, supporters of the same side would definitely have a closer relationship. As such, Stream in the Cloud suddenly initiated the conversation and continuously talked to Lin Yuan. White Devil Lordress might be sequence number 18 while Unknown Flame Lordress is sequence number 47, but I feel that Unknown Flame Lordress has a better chance to win. Unknown Flame Lordress is a power offense type spirit chi professional, while White Devil Lordress is a healing type spirit chi professional. Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Disaster Swallowtail Butterfly, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Lin Yuan might not know the Radiance 100 sequence's members, but he knew that the rankings were based on their potential and strength. For a person to be ranked sequence number 18, it meant outstanding strength and potential. Even though, sequence $18, White Devil was a healer without many attack methods. Lin Yuan took a closer look at the battleground and could see that White Devil was a young lady in long white robes and had graceful black hair. At that moment, she was standing there calmly and holding a long scepter. At the front end of the scepter was a birdcage, but it didn't contain a bird. Instead, it contained a beautiful emerald jade-like butterfly. It was constantly emitting a green glow and healing the two gold feys that were defending the young lady at the front. In this celestial stairway dueling ground, two famous analysts from the Star Web were commentating on the duel with intense tones and explaining the duel situation. Lin Yuan's eyes were totally attracted by the four feys that appeared in the battleground. All four feys were gold grade, two were healing type, and they belonged to White Devil. When resisting damage, they were also conducting appropriate counterattacks. The healing type fey might have mostly healing abilities, but when a fey reached gold grade, even a healing type fey would have considerable combat power. The other two were both lava bears, violent and power offense type feys. One of the lava bears had reddish purple fur, and when it mauled with its bare claws, it emitted paint. Like reddish purple flames that were like paint. The paint would stick onto the surface of the target and burn. It was just like a liquid flame, and it would corrode and burn anything it touched. The other lava bear had a bigger size, and its fur was bright red. Every time it attacked, the fur would burn with blazing flames. When the flames burst out of the body, they would immediately explode. The two lava bears' attacks gave a hard time to the two plant and healing type feys. Unknown Flame's red pelt armor would also respond according to the two lava bears' attacks on the battleground. She looked at White Devil, who was losing ground, and said, "Daisy, this battle of attrition has been going on for around 10 minutes. The spirit chi in your body is almost exhausted, right?" While speaking, Unknown Flame was still rather cautious as she gave a signal to the lava bears. The two lava bears immediately attacked at the Fusang snow tree that was struggling to stand. With the addition of two different destructive fire skills, the two lava bears' power severely injured the Fusang snow tree, which was weak against fire. This opened up a gap in White Devil's frontal defense line. White Devil's forehead was filled with perspiration, but she still said calmly, "The difference between number 18 and number 47 isn't as simple as you imagine." After speaking, White Devil pointed at the severely injured Fusang snow tree and yelled, "Use snow chill." In a split moment, the battleground was enveloped in a layer of frost. Subsequently, she pointed at the ice soul grass, which was struggling to defend, and shouted, "Extreme cold block." The frost layer that was on the battleground instantly dispersed and all the cold intent formed a pair of massive ice crystals. The two ice crystals sealed up the two lava bears in the midst of their battle stances. The two healing type feys didn't possess powerful attacks, but when they coordinated their abilities, they were able to seal two power offense type feys. Unknown Flame leaped backward and looked at White Devil while smirking. "Your ice soul grass and Fusang snow tree are unable to fight. Once my two lava bears break out of the ice, the outcome of the battle might not be according to our rankings. Don't forget that I am a healer." White Devil raised the scepter in her hand, and the emerald green butterfly in the birdcage started to radiate lustrous green light. Revival Swallowtail Butterfly. Use Wings of Revival. At that moment, the Revival Swallowtail Butterfly was enveloped in green light, and all of the power was gathered in the two wings. Subsequently, two green and hazy images of butterfly wings flew to the severely injured Fusang snow tree and ice soul grass. All of a sudden, the Fusang snow tree and the ice soul grass were like the new sprouts that had been in a drought. They rapidly recovered their injuries. Their injuries might not be fully recovered, but they were combat ready. Unknown Flame thought it wasn't good and raised her hand. In an instant, a flaming whirlwind appeared above Unknown Flame's head and caused the surrounding air to become scorching hot. Boom! A giant bear, the height of 7 meters, smashed at the Fusang snow tree and ice soul grass, which had just recovered. The sudden attack didn't allow the Fusang snow tree and ice soul grass to dodge in time as they were struck. It was highly possible that the Fusang snow tree and the ice soul grass would be severely injured and unable to continue fighting. White Devil looked at Unknown Flame and said, "I didn't expect your flowing flame giant bear to actually reach platinum grade. However, this duel's outcome is still going to be the same." White Devil plunged the scepter into the ground and channeled all her spiritual power into the Revival Swallowtail Butterfly before opening the door of the birdcage. when the revival swallowtail butterfly flew out of the birdcage, White Devil's black hair instantly turned snow white. The revival swallowtail butterfly, which was originally emerald green and filled with vitality, became dark red and gave off a destructive presence. The dark red revival swallowtail butterfly flapped its wings and looked as though its body was a flower that scattered. Then, it split into countless miniature dark red butterflies. These miniature butterflies were just like bullets that shot at the flame-blazing flowing flame giant bear. The strong burning whirlwind was unable to hinder the dark red revival swallowtail butterfly's speed. The dark red revival swallowtail butterflies dove into the flowing flame giant bear's body and flew out without resistance. They produced a bloody flower as though it was a bright red rose that had just blossomed. This bright red rose blossomed and immediately extinguished the flames on the flowing flame giant bear. Remarkably beautiful butterflies were flying around in a dance as though it was a rain of flowers. One big and two smaller bear feys were lying on the ground. It was the same as declaring White Devil the victor. Unknown Flame stared blankly at the fallen flowing flame giant bear and looked up to give White Devil a thumbs up. I didn't expect your revival swallowtail butterfly to actually evolve into a gold fantasy breed. I have lost this duel fair and square. White Devil might have a pale face, but she was still calm. When the revival swallowtail butterfly evolved into a fantasy breed, it obtained another name, Disaster Swallowtail Butterfly. The cheers in the celestial stairway dueling ground didn't stop even for a split moment. When White Devil threw her arm over Unknown Flame's shoulder and raised her hand into the sky, a unified cheer echoed, shaking everyone's hearts. Stream in the cloud grabbed onto Lin Yuan's clothes excitedly and shouted, White Devil Lordress is too cool. Unknown Flame Lordress might have lost, but she is indeed worthy of her power to control bears. She is also overwhelmingly cool. Lin Yuan ignored the excited stream in the cloud. Presently, Lin Yuan's heart was also resonating with indescribable excitement. The warm blood in his heart was like a fountain, and Lin Yuan felt like screaming out. All of a sudden, Lin Yuan heard the analyst announcing, White Devil Lordress, Daisy, defeated Unknown Flame Lordress, Anna. 1 star of celestial stairway glory shall be rewarded. Daisy and Anna, huh? Lin Yuan lamented softly. Daisy, sequence number 18, White Devil, Anna, sequence number 47, Unknown Flame. Lin Yuan finally found out the true names of sequence number 18 White Devil and sequence number 47 Unknown Flame. Is this the top-class combat power of the Radiance Federation's young generation? Gold fantasy breed, platinum fey, all these were things that he could only look forward to. Hopefully, however, in the not-so-distant future, Lin Yuan also wanted to chase this radiant light. I might have been born as a spot of light on the duckweed, but I will also be able to gather into a vast river of stars. I will catch up one step at a time until I reach the pinnacle of brilliance. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Changes to the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Lin Yuan left the star web and returned to his little store. His mind focused on the duel between the Radiance 100 sequence members. This duel allowed Lin Yuan to find out about the standard of the Radiance Federation's young generation. At the same time, Lin Yuan also had a deeper understanding as to what a fantasy breed was. A gold fantasy breed, healing type Fey, was actually able to overwhelm and defeat a platinum combat class Fey. Lin Yuan had also obtained a willpower rune, and it was still floating around Lin Yuan's spiritual zone with spiritual energy. The floating willpower rune formed a mountain pattern, and it was reenacting the rebirth of plants after a great destruction. It emitted a feeling of boundless vitality from a green mountain. This willpower rune was very suitable for healing type Feys, and as of now, Lin Yuan's only healing type Fey was the Jasmine Lily. It was unknown what the Jasmine Lily would transform into when its quality reached legend, and it fused with this willpower rune to become a fantasy breed. Not long after returning to the little store, Lin Yuan evolved the remaining pots of Usneas to elite grade. At that moment, apart from the contracted phase, Lin Yuan didn't have other phase to evolve. The book microchips, the 5 elite X/flawless web-spraying spiders, the spirit siphon goldfish, the energy ores, and the butterfly shells that he had purchased on the star web had yet to arrive. Seeing that his house had nearly no food ingredients, Lin Yuan carried Genius and Chimey out. Genius stood on Lin Yuan's shoulder while Chimey stood on Genius' little head. Chimey was chirping out loudly and was in a great mood. Lin Yuan smiled at Genius and Chimey while saying, "Genius, Chimey, I will bring the two of you out for shopping. Let's go." When Lin Yuan was previously maintaining the store, it wasn't earning much money. Even if it earned some money, Lin Yuan would save them up for Chu Xi's future school fees. Apart from purchasing goods, Lin Yuan didn't have many chances to bring Genius and Chimey out for a shopping trip. Now that Lin Yuan had money, he naturally wouldn't be as thrifty as before. On this trip, apart from the purchase of fruits and vegetables, the rest of the Federation dollars were used to purchase the daily necessities. Of course, Lin Yuan didn't need much of any daily necessities, and most of them were actually for Genius and Chimey. Lin Yuan had already purchased several bags of energy biscuits that were suitable for elite-grade omnivorous feys. He had also purchased some consumable spiritual ingredients for Chimey that could enhance its feathers' durability. After pushing a whole stack of daily necessities back home, someone knocked on the door of the store. Lin Yuan opened the door to see a man wearing the ostrich logistics uniform. He had put down several spirit storage boxes on the ground. "I am Ostrich Logistics Courier number 75457. I have delivered this sir's goods that were purchased on the Star Web on time. Please sign for them here." Lin Yuan quickly signed. All the things that he had purchased from the Star Web had already arrived. "Thank you." After obtaining Lin Yuan's signature and ensuring that the items were correct, the courier left. Lin Yuan couldn't help but be amazed at the efficiency of Ostrich Logistics. It was truly living up to its reputation. As long as it was within the Radiance Federation, Ostrich Logistics would be able to deliver the goods within 3 hours. After signing for the goods, Lin Yuan shifted the spirit storage boxes into the house and started off by taking out the spirit siphon goldfish. When Lin Yuan took the normal spirit siphon goldfish out of the spirit storage box, it was very frail. It felt as though Lin Yuan would take this little fellow's life with just a light grip. The spirit siphon goldfish struggled lightly in Lin Yuan's hand. The two protruding black eyes on its head looked very silly and cute. Lin Yuan immediately used Morbius' exclusive skill, Spirit Lock, to turn the telescope spirit siphon goldfish into Morbius Elite Spirit Locked Fey. Subsequently, Lin Yuan started to evolve the spirit siphon goldfish. When the spirit siphon goldfish reached elite grade, Lin Yuan took a glance at the time. "It took me over 1 hour to evolve the spirit siphon goldfish. Furthermore, the growth of spiritual power in my body is exactly the same as the growth when I evolved a pot of usnia to elite grade." The difficulty of evolving the spirit siphon goldfish was truly living up to its notorious fame. It was no wonder the spirit siphon goldfish was an unpopular fey among creation masters. After the spirit siphon goldfish reached elite grade, it became more than 2 times bigger than before. The scales on its body weren't as mottled, and it became smooth like satin. It felt just like a layer of black silk wrapping on the body. The tail had bloomed like a half-opened umbrella. The 2 massive eyes on the head didn't change, but there was a layer of faint golden scales around the eyes. The golden scales might be weaved together with the black scales, but it was rather prominent when observing it closely. The telescope spirit siphon goldfish was considered a famous subspecies. If Lin Yuan were to put this spirit siphon goldfish to sell on the Star Web store, he would easily earn 8 Radiance dollars. After evolving the spirit siphon goldfish, Lin Yuan entered the spirit lock spatial zone and poured the 2,000 caddies worth of inferior energy ores from the spirit storage box into the spirit pool. The inferior energy ores immediately disintegrated inside the spirit pool and turned into spirit chi that was released into the spirit lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan was constantly pouring the inferior energy ores into the pool, and when he poured in around 1,700 caddies, the spirit pool didn't continue disintegrating the inferior energy ores. Lin Yuan knew that this was the spirit chi's concentration limit in the spirit lock spatial zone. When making a comparison, Lin Yuan realized that the spirit chi concentration in the spirit lock spatial zone was around 5 times more than the outside world. Lin Yuan was extremely satisfied as the spirit lock spatial zone would constantly be upgraded when Morbius evolved. By then, the spirit chi concentration would only become denser. As for the remaining 300 caddies of energy ores that were poured into the spirit pool, Lin Yuan didn't bother. Be it the jasmine lily or the spirit siphon goldfish, they would be rapidly using up the spirit chi within the spirit lock spatial zone. once the spirit chi concentration in the spatial zone was reduced, the spirit pool would automatically disintegrate the remaining energy ores for replenishment. Lin Yuan placed the spirit siphon goldfish into the spirit pool, and it immediately swam around with content. At that moment, Lin Yuan could feel the spirit siphon goldfish gradually absorbing the spirit chi in the spatial zone. Lin Yuan compared and analyzed the speed of him evolving the spirit siphon goldfish personally and the speed of the spirit siphon goldfish absorbing the pure spirit chi in the spatial zone automatically. If the spirit siphon goldfish was to evolve from normal grade to elite grade in this spirit lock spatial zone, it would need about 10 days, of course. The precondition was to have a constant supply of energy ores within these 10 days, after calculating the spirit siphon goldfish's growth speed in the spirit lock spatial zone. Lin Yuan decided the direction of the Star Web Store's development. He was going to rely on selling elite spirit siphon goldfish to build his reputation. If a huge quantity of elite spirit siphon goldfish, which were highly demanded, were to appear in the purchase with no loss feys store, it would probably cause his store's reputation to soar. Lin Yuan then scattered the butterfly shells at the bottom of the spirit pool. When the butterfly shells entered the water and landed on top of the white energy ores, they looked like scattered ginkgo leaves in autumn. It was an especially beautiful scenery. The spirit siphon goldfish immediately bit one of the butterfly shells and consumed it, gradually absorbing its energy. The butterfly shells would have more or less some effects to awaken the spirit siphon goldfish's bloodline. However, the effects weren't significant. Lin Yuan thought that if he could obtain the blood of a dragon species fey before the spirit siphon goldfish's quality reached epic, it would increase its chances of awakening the rare dragon species bloodline greatly. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess, Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. A dragon fey's blood was considered a precious spiritual ingredient, and the prices were naturally extremely high. Most of the dragon feys were above gold grade. If the spirit siphon goldfish reached bronze grade and awakened the rare dragon species bloodline, it wouldn't be considered a dragon species fey unless the bloodline concentration reached a certain standard. From this point, it was obvious that the dragon species fey's blood was very hard to obtain. Rare spiritual ingredients, such as a dragon fey's fresh blood, were all sold by the drop. Lin Yuan didn't really understand the dragon species fey's price, but it was fortunate that he had added Xuanhuan on the star web as a friend. By then, he just had to ask Xuanhuan. He might not know how much a dragon species fey's blood cost, but it was certainly very expensive. Lin Yuan wanted to earn more money and prepare the amount needed to purchase the dragon species blood in advance. He was going to set a small target to earn 100 million Federation dollars, which was also 100 Radiance dollars. The spirit chi concentration inside the spirit lock spatial zone was 5 times more concentrated than outside. Lin Yuan circulated the spirit chi and realized that even though the circulation speed didn't change, the efficiency increased to around 5 times the speed due to the concentrated spirit passing through his body. This discovery left Lin Yuan pleasantly surprised. Lin Yuan quickly took an Elite X/flawless web spraying spiders out of the spirit storage box and placed it inside the spirit lock spatial zone. He then rapidly channeled the spirit chi to enhance the web spraying spider. When Lin Yuan was enhancing web spraying spider, he could feel a boundary inside the web spraying spider's body. The boundary felt like it could be shattered if Lin Yuan charged into it a few times with spirit chi. However, Lin Yuan didn't do so. If he broke through the boundary, the web-spraying spider would evolve from elite grade to bronze grade with flawless quality. That wasn't what Lin Yuan wanted. Lin Yuan didn't use the spirit chi to smash through the boundary, but instead constantly poured the spirit chi into the web-spraying spider's body. He allowed the web-spraying spider to absorb as much spirit chi as possible to enhance its quality. After a certain period of time, the web-spraying spider's quality reached epic, so Lin Yuan stopped channeling the spirit chi. He looked at the time and realized that it took him over 2 hours to break through flawless to epic. Had he not been enhancing the web-spraying spider in the spirit lock spatial zone, he would probably have needed to spend over a dozen hours. Furthermore, this speed was because he had progressed into a D-rank spirit chi professional. The results stated that it was much harder to increase the quality of a fey than to evolve it. Furthermore, this was just enhancing it from flawless to epic. How much more time and effort would be required to enhance them from epic to legend? Lin Yuan suddenly realized that the spirit chi concentration in the spirit lock spatial zone was no longer 5 times more concentrated than outside. He looked at the spirit pool and realized that the 300 caddies of inferior energy ores at the bottom of the spirit pool had already vanished. They had been used up when Lin Yuan increased web-spraying spider's quality. Lin Yuan made a calculation by using the number of inferior energy ores used. In order to enhance one Elite X/flawless web-spraying spider to Elite X/epic, it would need 700 caddies of inferior energy ores. It was around 0.35 radiance dollars according to the purchase price of the materials. There was a certain price to pay to make use of the increased speed of enhancement and evolution in the spirit lock spatial zone. However, the price to pay was nearly negligible when comparing it with the speed. The biggest problem that Lin Yuan had right now was the lack of funds. Without enough funds, he wouldn't be able to purchase more inferior energy ores, and it was rather vexing for Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan brought the Elite X/epic web-spraying spider out of the spirit lock spatial zone and didn't continue to enhance the 4 remaining web-spraying spiders. Instead, he made the preparations for Genius to memorize the books on the primary rank of Scholar, Fey Observer, and Spiritual Ingredient Analyst. The 100 questions beast required time to memorize new knowledge. But it was rather fast. To memorize 300 over books it would only require around 20 days. When it was time for Lin Yuan to visit Zhou Jiesen's store to look for hidden goods, Genius would have already memorized the needed knowledge. Afterward, Lin Yuan could take the exam for the Creation Master occupation. Once he passed the exam to become a Creation Master, he would be like a flood dragon entering the sea or a peacock returning to the forest. His future path would be headed for the sky, and it would be particularly spacious. Lin Yuan applied for a Star Web account for Genius and entered the book microchips into Genius Star Web account. Genius then sat there, obediently to study carefully. It had always been passionate about studying. Lin Yuan logged into the Star Web and entered his small store. He suddenly noticed that all the pots of usnias had been completely reserved. Lin Yuan was rather surprised that all the elite/elite usnias would be sold out in such a short period of time. Also, numerous people had actually left messages saying that they wanted to order more elite usnias. It seemed like there wasn't a need to worry about the hot-selling items, no matter the timing. It was different from other feys, which might also be great, but due to the limited demand, they might not be able to sell out quickly. Lin Yuan didn't reply to these messages as he was planning to only use bronze usnias for the next sale. Lin Yuan was preparing to break through from a D-rank Spirit Chi professional into a C-rank Spirit Chi professional. After becoming a C-rank Spirit Chi professional, I will be able to evolve feys to bronze grade with a much faster speed. Lin Yuan knew that he was able to evolve feys to bronze grade, but he felt a little unmotivated if he had to increase the quality of a bronze fey. Only after becoming a C-rank Spirit Chi professional, Lin Yuan would be able to increase the bronze fey's quality to legend and allow it to transform into the fantasy breed. Lin Yuan hadn't set a fixed price for the 2 other web-spraying spiders so that the ones that were willing to purchase them would leave the price with the AI robot. The prices offered were actually more than what he expected. 3 individuals had made an offer for the web-spraying spider with the adhesive spider web skill, and the highest offer was 1.1 radiance dollars. As for the other web-spraying spider that had awakened a violent venom skill, only 1 person had made an offer, and the price was 1.3 radiance dollars. The bids weren't considered high, but if Lin Yuan was willing to wait, it wouldn't be a problem to sell the bronze web-spraying spiders. For 2.7 radiance dollars, however, Lin Yuan didn't have the choice to wait. He immediately responded to the 2 individuals who had offered the highest price and sold the 2 bronze web-spraying spiders. Immediately after, he used his store's name to contact Ostrich Logistics and make the delivery. Newly opened stores on the Star Web could sign a contract with Ostrich Logistics for them to arrange and deliver the goods. However, for each item that Ostrich Logistics delivered, they would take a commission based on the goods price. Ostrich Logistics took a rather high commission, but they were fast and safe. If something happened, they would compensate for the losses. It was also why so many individuals were willing to choose Ostrich Logistics. Now that the 2 web-spraying spiders and the elite usnias had been sold, Lin Yuan's financial crisis was immediately resolved. Chimey was chirping and singing. After singing for quite some time, it felt rather bored. When it saw Lin Yuan and Genius busy using the Star Web, Chimey's eyes flickered before it jumped onto Genius' head. It chirped and said, "Genius, "Genius, do you think my singing is nice?" "It is nice. And it is getting better." Genius didn't know why Chimey was asking this question, as Chimey was normally very shy. "Genius, can you secretly apply for a star web account for me? I want to start a live stream." After speaking, it let out 2 chirps and took a glance at its azure blue feathers, and said confidently, "I want to become an attractive host with a beautiful voice. My name shall be Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess. But you are a bird." When looking at Genius' silly expression, Chimey felt it was the smarter of the duo. "You can just help me put on a GIF, right?" Chimey felt that it was the prettiest and most clever sound bird with the best singing voice right now. Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Neng, translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Chimey would be singing at home whenever it didn't have anything to do. Lin Yuan was already used to Chimey's singing, its routine activity at home. Therefore, Lin Yuan wasn't paying attention to Chimey when it was singing seriously. After Genius reached elite grade, most of its capabilities were already comparable with humans. In fact, its memory was several times better than humans. Soon, Chimey successfully became a beautiful host with an amazing voice with Genius' help. At that moment, a cute gif of a loli was blocking half the screen, and Chimey was singing behind the gif. When a host just started their channel, it was normal not to have many viewers. 1 or 2 occasional people would pass by and quickly exit the channel. However, Chimey's singing was just like that phoenix's clear chirping on the Kun mountain and the rustling leaves of the purple bamboo forest. It sounded interesting and appealing, even mellower than the morning dew that dripped down from the pandan leaves. Therefore, Chimey's live streaming room became a cave of the silken web where one couldn't escape after entering. Those who entered had no thoughts of leaving. Wow! How can there be such a nice voice in this world? It is a fairy singing. Little sister, why are you using a GIF to block your face? Shouldn't a beautiful host be showing their face? Could this song be little sister's original song? I have searched for the lyrics on the star web but couldn't find any match. Each of the viewers that entered the room couldn't help but start to praise Chimey like a violent storm. There was even a generous viewer that instantly rewarded Chimey with $500 Federation dollars. These people had been blasting messages for a long time but realized that the host didn't reply to them. They actually felt that the host had a unique personality, so they turned into dogs that continued to lick and shower the host with praises. The current circumstances were mainly due to Chimey's great singing that was simply too amazing. Chimey might be calm on the surface, but its heart was already racing. Chimey wanted to send a message for the viewers to praise it more, but it didn't know how to reply, and Genius was diligently studying the books Lin Yuan had arranged. Chimey had no choice but to pretend that it didn't see the messages and continued singing. After Chimey was tired from singing, it casually switched off the live stream. However, Chimey didn't know that when it had been singing earlier, one of the viewers had actually recorded the live stream and posted it on the star web. The name, Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess, spread like wildfire. It was like a spark in the plains during autumn that turned into a raging prairie fire. A short moment later, a knocking sound echoed in Lin Yuan's store. When Lin Yuan opened the door, he saw a 1.7-meter tall girl. She was wearing the ostrich logistics uniform and had short dark red hair. It was a cool hairstyle, but it was particularly bashful on this girl's face. "Hello. Are you the store owner for purchase with no loss, Mr. Deep Mountain Elder Lin?" When speaking, the girl was silently clenching her hands as she was rather nervous, and her tone sounded a little shaky. Upon noticing the ostrich logistics uniform on the girl, Lin Yuan knew that she was here to pick up the goods. He immediately replied, "That's right. It is me. You should be here to pick up the goods, right?" Lin Yuan's acknowledgement allowed the girl with the short dark red short heave a sigh of relief. She let out a shy laugh and said, "I am the newcomer courier number 3451. My name is Neng. According to your contract, I shall be purchased with no loss store's dedicated courier." Lin Yuan felt that Neng was very cute when he saw her actually place her fist at her chest to encourage herself. "Then, I shall trouble you from now on, Miss Neng. Does this mean that Mr. Deep Mountain Elder Lin agrees for me to be the dedicated courier for purchase with no loss store and will not change me?" Ah Ning was pleasantly surprised as she smiled and revealed her two tiger teeth. It looked as though she had encountered a great thing. At that moment, Lin Yuan recalled that the contract with Ostrich Logistics mentioned the service to apply for a change of dedicated courier. Upon seeing Ah Ning's expression, Lin Yuan could imagine that Ah Ning had been switched out more than once. After Lin Yuan gave the affirmative nod, Ah Ning immediately yelled out, "Yeah." Subsequently, she circulated her spiritual energy and summoned two of her contracted feys. Lin Yuan didn't expect a young-looking girl like her to actually possess gold and silver feys. "I am very formidable. Super aggressive. That's why there will be no problem with the goods as long as you hand them to me. If there are any accidents, I will use my bullet rain to extinguish the enemies with pain." Ah Ning was afraid that Lin Yuan might not be at ease and was doing her best to prove her strength. Upon seeing the two feys, Lin Yuan knew that she was a spirit chi professional with high potential that Ostrich Logistics had nurtured. However, he couldn't understand why she would become his dedicated courier. Gold armor-piercing insect, silver canister shot insect. These two feys' attacks would be just like a concentrated rain of bullets that had extreme lethality. It seemed like Ah Ning wasn't as bashful as she seemed, and deep down inside, she was a person that worshipped violence. Ah Ning happily packaged the goods that had to be delivered for Lin Yuan and said, "This might be my first task, but I can guarantee that I will deliver all of them safely within 2 hours. I will not even need the 3 hours stated in the contract." She then left cheerfully. Surprisingly, just as Ah Ning left, Lin Yuan saw a few pieces of paper dropping on the ground. He quickly picked them up and chased after Ah Ning while calling out to her. He then handed over the courier lists that had dropped on the ground. Ah Ning was originally in a great mood, but after seeing the courier lists Lin Yuan handed over, her face immediately turned red. She ran off like a little rabbit immediately after receiving the courier lists. Lin Yuan couldn't help but criticize in his heart. He felt that newcomers were definitely not as reliable. After returning home, Lin Yuan realized that he had already received 3.9 radiance dollars within 2 hours. This amount was for the sale of the elite usnias and the 2 bronze web-spraying spiders. Lin Yuan immediately felt invigorated with the 3.9 radiance dollars, so he logged into the star web to contact Zhou Jiesin. "Deep Mountain Elder Lin, Big Sister Xian, I wish to order another 4,000 caddies of inferior energy ores. And 3 butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish of random colors." Within a few minutes, Lin Yuan spent the money that he had just earned. He was left with merely 0.4 radiance dollars. Lin Yuan would need 1,000 Federation dollars for 3 months' expenses, and he would still have some spare in the past. However, now, Lin Yuan felt that it was irresistible to spend radiance dollars. He didn't know if it was because of his confidence or that he was stronger for him to actually have such thoughts. "Zhou Jiesin, you still need 4,000 caddies of inferior energy ores. I have the stock. If you need them, I will send them to you immediately. As for the 3 normal spirit siphon goldfish, I remember there are 3 rather good-looking butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish in the pond. I will fish them up for you." Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The importance of connections. Zhou Jiesin quickly saw the order and responded to Lin Yuan. However, she couldn't understand why this customer of hers would need so many inferior energy ores for Deep Mountain Elder Lin. "Then I shall thank Big Sister Xian. Does Big Sister Xian have any dragon blood?" Zhou Jiesin pondered for a long time before replying to Lin Yuan. "I do have some stock of dragon blood. I wonder how much you need." Lin Yuan had been searching on the star web and hadn't been able to find any store selling dragon blood. He vaguely felt that it was impossible to purchase spiritual ingredients with just money and would need better connections. "Deep Mountain Elder Lin, Big Sister Xian, what is the price for dragon blood now?" Zhou Jiesin, the price of gold-grade dragon blood is 80 radiance dollars for 1 drop. The price of platinum-grade dragon blood is 2,000 radiance dollars for a drop. Zhou Jiesin had already made a decision in her heart to build a good relationship with Lin Yuan. One of the factors was due to her good impression of Lin Yuan during the day. Another factor was because of Lin Yuan's purchasing power. Lin Yuan had only visited the store for the first day and had already spent 5 radiance dollars in a few hours. Such a customer was definitely worth tying down. Lin Yuan had already given a higher estimation for the price of dragon blood, but he didn't think that it would actually be so expensive. If a single drop of platinum-grade dragon blood cost 2,000 radiance dollars, Lin Yuan didn't dare to imagine the price of a platinum dragon fey. In order to activate the rare dragon bloodline in the spirit siphon goldfish's bodies when they reached bronze grade, gold-grade dragon blood might already be enough. If he was lucky, a single drop of the dragon blood would do the trick, but it would be more conservative in preparing 3 drops. In regards to his own phase evolutions, Lin Yuan wanted to be properly prepared for everything. When Zhou Jiesin noticed that Lin Yuan didn't reply for a long time, she immediately sent another message. Zhou Jiesin, the price I offered to you might be higher than the lowest price in the market, but I can ensure that the concentration of the dragon blood hasn't been diluted at all. When Lin Yuan saw Zhou Jiesin's message, he couldn't help but have a better impression of her. When purchasing spiritual ingredients, the terrifying thing was to guarantee the spiritual ingredients' quality. If the spiritual ingredients' quality didn't reach a certain standard, when a creation master was evolving a fey, it might cause the evolution to fail or an incomplete evolution. If it was a failed evolution, the process could be restarted. But if it was an incomplete evolution, then certain aspects of the fey would definitely be weakened after the evolution. Evolution was a gift to life and the most creative process of natural selection in the natural world. Thus, evolutions were never reversible. It was why the quality of spiritual ingredients played a huge role. Deep Mountain Elder Lin, Big Sister Xin, I might order a batch of normal spirit siphon goldfish from your store in the next few days. I want the butterfly telescope subspecies. As for the dragon blood, we will make a deal when I visit your store on the 27th. Zhou Jiesin, don't you worry. I will pick out all the normal butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish for you. I guarantee that all of them are great looking. When reading that Lin Yuan was preparing to make so many orders, Zhou Jiesin was delighted. In her heart, she felt that it was the correct decision to build a good relationship with Lin Yuan. Now that Lin Yuan learned the dragon blood's price, he started to calculate in his heart. The gold-grade dragon blood's price was 80 radiance dollars for a drop, and Lin Yuan required 3 drops. It meant that Lin Yuan would need to prepare at least 240 radiance dollars. 240 radiance dollars wasn't a small sum for Lin Yuan, but it wasn't an astronomical amount that he couldn't collect. Therefore, Lin Yuan made a plan to earn money. After receiving the goods from Zhou Jiesin, Lin Yuan would enter the Spirit Lock spatial zone and enhance the 4 remaining Elite X/flawless web spraying spiders. As for the 3 normal spirit siphon goldfish, Lin Yuan was going to place them in the spirit pool in the spatial zone. Lin Yuan had chosen butterfly telescope goldfish because this was the best-selling subspecies among all the elite spirit siphon goldfish. The tea-colored butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish were swimming around cheerfully in the spirit pool, and they looked delighted. It was obvious that the high concentration of spirit chi in the spirit lock spatial zone was the best living environment for the normal spirit siphon goldfish. The 3 spirit siphon goldfish were just like amber-colored camellias blooming in the depths of the spirit pool. Along with the spirit-locked elite spirit siphon goldfish, the 4 spirit siphon goldfish gave off a poetry-like feeling to this spirit pool. In the beginning, the 3 normal and 1 elite spirit siphon goldfish were living together nicely in the spirit pool. However, when the 3 normal butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish wanted to eat the butterfly shells, the elite telescope spirit siphon goldfish attacked them. It started to brandish its tail in the water and lash at the 3 normal butterfly telescope goldfish. Although the tail lash's power might not be great and humans wouldn't feel anything, when it lashed on the 3 obviously smaller butterfly telescope goldfish, the trio was sent tumbling in the spirit pool. They tumbled for 3 rounds before gradually stopping. After a few attacks, even though the 3 normal butterfly telescope goldfish felt that the butterfly shells could benefit them, they still didn't dare to take a bite. Lin Yuan burst out in laughter. It was fortunate that this elite goldfish could protect the butterfly shells. Otherwise, he would need to think of a method to isolate the 3 butterfly telescope goldfish. These 3 tea-colored butterfly telescope goldfish would be able to reach elite grade within 5 days. Lin Yuan was planning to put them on sale in the Star Web store when they reached elite grade, setting a price of 8 radiance dollars. Therefore, letting these 3 butterfly telescope goldfish eat the butterfly shells would be just a waste. However, Lin Yuan was rather surprised. These 4 spirit siphon goldfish had been living together in the pond at Zhou Jiesen's store previously. However, after Lin Yuan's spirit-locked goldfish reached elite grade, it actually attacked its previous companions because of resources. Lin Yuan realized that this wasn't just the process of natural selection. It was also the survival of the fittest. It made Lin Yuan understand why strong individuals would grow stronger while weak individuals would have a hard time rising up. The elite telescope spirit siphon goldfish swam around the spirit pool willfully while the 3 butterfly telescope spirit siphon goldfish would gather and cower in a corner. They didn't dare to swim toward the center of the spirit pool at all. Lin Yuan could vaguely feel that even though the spirit pool no longer had any energy ores, there was still a trace of spirit chi constantly pouring into the spirit lock spatial zone. This was the great effect of breeding spirit siphon goldfish in the spirit lock spatial zone. However, the speed of spirit chi being released from the spirit siphon goldfish and its consumption speed was truly disproportionate. During this period of time, Lin Yuan had constantly been pouring the 4,000 caddies of inferior energy ores into the spirit pool. For the next 2 days, Lin Yuan finally enhanced the 5 Elite X/flawless web spraying spiders to Elite X/epic. Lin Yuan let out a relaxed breath and stood up to stretch his body. It is time to hand these custom feys to that braised egg head. Stream in the cloud.